What's up, guys? Welcome back to Voyage RC. Got another video here on the new truck from Traxxas. Wait, what's this? Get that out. That's not what we want. We'll get to that guy later. This new HOSS 4x4 VXL from Traxxas. Got one in the studio, so I got my hands on one. Special thanks to Hobby Action in Tempe, Arizona. They sent me their, or they let me borrow the first delivery model, so we can get this out of the box, get our hands on it, and take a look at it. This won't be a true unboxing just because it's already been opened and displayed at their store. But we're going to take a look at the box and then take it out and take a look at the truck, more importantly. So you can see the box here. Obviously they're going to be doing the orange and purple scheme as well as the green and blue scheme. Those are the two colors this truck will be available in. Hopefully by the end of the month. I think that was Traxxas's plan, so by the end of the month these should be available for sale. But you should definitely check out your local hobby shop. They should have their first delivery model for display purposes, so you can check it out and kind of see what's going on with the truck. In typical Traxxas fashion, they've got some diagrams of the truck with the body off and everything on the box. And then of course they go over some of the features and stuff like that, but we do not care about that. We want to get this thing open. So, ta-da! Hey guys, got a new merch store available with some hats, shirts, and other accessories. So if you want to pick up some cool swag and support the channel, go ahead and click that link in the description below. Let's get this bad boy out of here. You always got a 50-50 chance of whether you open this on the side with the radio or not. And not that I cut this one open, but every time I cut a Traxxas box open, I'm 90% sure to get the side without the radio. So pull out the styrofoam, set those aside. Got the truck here, so you can take a look at that. Got their price tag that they were showing it with on it. That's really the only difference, is that's strapped on it, other than just pulling it out of the box. Standard goodies bag from Traxxas. You've got your multi-wrench tool, your turnbuckle tool, some shock spacers, and manual. And then if you pull the other foam side out, the radio will be on that side. So let me wiggle this guy out of here. So you've got the TQI radio, multifunction knob, trim knob, and weird thing, oddly, no 50-50, 70-30 neutral switch selector. So it's just standard selector there, not adjustable, which, if I'm being honest, it never liked being in the 70-30 anyway. It only liked being in the 50-50. And then on the back you can add your Bluetooth module to get some telemetry. Anyways, enough with this box. We don't care about that. Representing Hobby Action. Anyways, obviously this is the green and blue truck. So you can kind of see the size of it here. You got the big Sledgehammer 2.8 tires on here. So good sized tire, decent sized 10 scale truck. I think it's slightly bigger than like a Stampede 4x4. Slightly, not much. You got the wheelie bar on the back there, bumpers on the front. That's kind of what distinguishes it as the HOSS over like a Stampede or a Rustler 4x4. And then you do get the nice sidebars here, help keep the body in, keep it from pulling out. So nice little skid or Nerf bars there. But yeah, let's get the body off of this thing. Kind of take a closer look at what the actual truck is. This is using their clipless body style, which I'm pretty sure every 4x4 that's come out since the X-Max has used the clipless body mounting. Rustler, Max, X-Max, even the new Evo 2.0. They really like that, and it comes with the full cage with the clasp up front and the locking mechanism in the back. The other nice thing, so before we get shy away from the body, is this does come with their body savers pre-installed. So nice little washer setup in there to help keep the screws on the cage from pulling through the body, which was a big problem on like the X-Max and stuff. But yeah, so here you have it. Here's the truck. Looks very similar to their standard 10 scale 4-wheel drive stuff, whether it be the Slash or the Rustler, which it does share most of the parts with the Rustler 4x4. But obviously it's got the bigger 540 XL 2400 kV motor sitting in there. And that is the same motor out of the Max, which you saw a little earlier, so we'll bring that back in a second and do kind of some size comparisons and stuff. But this does use the VXL 3S ESC, which does come with their fan pre-installed on it, so that's nice. You don't have to spend the extra money to get the fan for the ESC, because a big motor like this is going to work that ESC pretty hard, so it's nice that that comes on it. And then noticeably, first of all, it's got a vertically mounted 2075 servo instead of the horizontal kind of under the chassis here like their other trucks. So that is a vertically mounted servo. And then the other cool feature, so if you guys can see this, this is your receiver box. Obviously they had to move it to the front to accommodate the size of the bigger motor here. And with the servo there wasn't room to put the receiver box there. But the bottom portion of the receiver box is actually molded into the chassis, which is kind of cool. So you only have the top piece that's separate, so you can unscrew that like normal, and then everything else is just molded into the chassis. So that was kind of a cool little feature. So being that this shares most of the parts with the Rustler 4x4, I am curious as to whether, you know, for those guys who have a Rustler 4x4 and they want to do like an 8 scale motor conversion, put the really beefy motor in there, and then run it on even up to 6S, some of those systems run. I'm wondering if you could just straight swap this chassis onto that Rustler 4x4, since this is the same wheelbase as a Rustler 4x4. It's theoretically, you could just slap all the Rustler 4x4 parts that you already have on here, because it utilizes most of those parts. It's the same wheelbase. And then if that would just give you the instead of moving your whole receiver box and having it sit taller, because you're mounting the whole box onto the chassis, if you could just swap this into there and then utilize this built-in lower half of the receiver box and have yourself a pretty nice, clean 8 scale setup on that guy. So this chassis is pretty cool. It'd be nice to see if you could just do that and then put your, you know, your big power system in a Rustler 4x4. But yeah, other than that, this should accommodate a full-length LiPo. I know they changed that around on the Rustler 4x4. It used to take the hump pack. Now it comes with the flat pack, so it can take the longer packs. So you're not as restricted on size of battery that can use in there. Obviously, this is only going to be a 3-cell, not a 4-cell, so your height-wise isn't going to be quite as tall as like the Max. But you should be able to fit a full-size 3-cell in there, which is nice. Other than that, it's kind of standard 4-wheel drive stuff. Obviously, you've got your bumpers and wheelie bar that were specific to the HOSS. But other than that, if you look at the bottom side here, obviously the Nerf bars and the chassis slightly different shape, but you've got your front end and rear end off of a Rustler. So Rustler 4x4 arms, Rustler 4x4 drive shafts, and everything like that, shock towers, whatnot. So yeah, pretty cool little truck. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed when I first saw this. Just when the announcement went online, I was kind of like, you know, what's the deal? Why do they need this? It doesn't really fit into their lineup. But seeing it in person, it does look a lot better in person. So definitely check out your local hobby shop if they got one of the first pre-release displays. Searching for the words there, but definitely get down there, take a look at it, see it in person. I'm really liking the Sledgehammer tires in the 2.8 size. That's one of their better tires that they make for their trucks. And then it's really cool that it's got the same motor as the Max, obviously just limited to 3S. Looks pretty good in person. It is the standard plastic 10 scale shocks. So keep that in mind. It could probably use a shock upgrade, although there is nothing terribly wrong with these shocks. I probably first off would put some aluminum caps on them. I would imagine a truck like this, big 4-wheel drive truck, you're going to be jumping it pretty good. So you definitely don't want to be popping the caps off, which these plastic ones can pop off. They have upgraded them some time ago, so they are a little bit stronger than the older ones, but still would probably throw the aluminum ones on there. And then drive shafts, I would probably upgrade the drive shafts. We all know those are pretty not great and prone to breaking. So shock caps and drive shafts. Other than that, you do get some beefy camber links. All your turnbuckles are pretty beefy. And then, yeah, HOSS 4x4 VXL. What do you guys think? Alright guys, got the Max back on the table. Got the HOSS 4x4 VXL here. Just so you guys can kind of see some size comparison. I will roll some B-roll right now so you can get a better view of the size comparison between the two. But yeah, so this HOSS 4x4 kind of fits size-wise between a Rustler 4x4 and the Max. You can see here the Max is a little bigger. Obviously it's got a little bigger tire. It's a little bigger overall. I think it's a longer wheelbase. But yeah, so things to consider when looking at these. This guy here is a $469.95 price tag. This guy here is a $549.95 price tag. Granted, both of those are no battery, no charger, so you'll have to buy those separately. This one runs up to 3 cell. This one optimally would run up to 4 cell. So you're probably going to want, either way you go, you're going to be running max power, so 3 cell, 4 cell. So a little bit slightly more expensive battery here, but that being said, you're at like what, an $80 price difference to upgrade to the little bigger size, a little bit more power. But considering that you can get this truck with a battery for the same price as this truck without a battery, granted you still need to get a charger on both ends, but you're almost getting the battery for the same price as just the truck for this one. So I think pricing wise and where it sits, you're a little bit bigger truck, nice big 4-wheel drive, bigger tire than like the Rustler 4x4 or the Slash 4x4. And then obviously beefy motor. I mean, it's the 540XL 2400 kV motor. So it's gonna have plenty of power even on 3S. I think this is getting a little bit more enticing the more I look at it. However, if it was me, I would probably just spend the extra money and get the Max. That's a very proven truck, and it's also going to be a little bit more durable. So the durability wise, the Max is going to outshine the HOSS for sure, especially just breaking it down to shocks and drive shafts. You get nice aluminum body shocks on the Max. You have the standard plastic ones on the HOSS, and then your drive shafts are pretty beefy on here. Now you're still going to break them, but they are a lot beefier, especially considering you're running more power. But they are beefier on the HOSS or the Max rather than the HOSS, which has the standard Rustler 4x4 drive shafts on it. Now they are the A model, so there was the X model and the A model. The A model is the beefier or more durable model, so they are a little bit more durable than like what comes on like the Slash 4x4. However, the drive shafts have always, on their 10 scale stuff, been the weak point. So if we get the bodies off of these, both clipless, I haven't always been the hugest fan of the clipless. Now that's just me. It's more of a pain in the butt to put them on the truck. That's really the kicker for me. Just it's sliding the nose clip in. But when you're driving it, you're not losing body clips and your body's not flying off. So typically, unless you get some flex in front of the truck. And now that I mention it, that is one thing they did pretty good on this. The tab up here is extended a little bit longer than like the Rustler 4x4. So you've got more meat grabbing on that front post to help lock the body on. A lot of times on like the Rustler 4x4, you jump it or do some crazy stuff with it and it'll end up unclipping the front. So you end up driving back to you with the body coming up like that. So that's a nice touch they did on there. Max is decently sized too. So gravity wise, body should stay on through most of your shenanigans. Granted, you start jumping the truck 40 feet in the air and coming down pretty hard. Who knows what's going to happen at that point. But you can see on the Max versus the HOSS, not only the size difference, but how beefy the Max is built over the HOSS here. So you got a lot more support, especially around the shock tower portions here. Granted, the Max was a dumbed down version or a smaller scale version of the X Max, which was built pretty beefy with a lot of support, a lot of chassis bracing, stuff like that. So this has all that same bracing and durability points and support as the big truck, whereas this is a bigger size from the smaller truck, so it doesn't come with all that. However, you are throwing a little bit less weight around, so you wouldn't need typically as much bracing just because you don't have the momentum with the HOSS as you do with the Max. But the Max does come with like motor heatsink and cooling fan, which does not come on the HOSS. Now they are gonna have available that stuff separate, so you can add it to this guy. It doesn't come with it out of the box though, but you do get the VXL 3S cooling fan. Other than that, yeah, the trucks just comparison wise, obviously the Max is going to be a lot beefier than the HOSS, so it's something to consider when looking at the two. But yeah, let's get this Max back out of here since that's not a part of the video. So what are my thoughts? I've seen this in person now. It was nice to get my hands on it, nice to see it, other than going through, you know, videos or Traxxas' website and looking at all their photos and videos. It does do it more justice in person, so like I said earlier, definitely check out your local hobby shop if you're close to one that's got one of the first delivery models available to look at. Definitely get in there, touch it, play with it, do what you can, and kind of decide whether or not you want to dive in and get this guy. I know most shops, Hobby Action especially, will take pre-orders for them, so they'll take your name and phone number and give you a call when they come in. So definitely, if you're considering it, you might want to do that. That way you can get your hands on one of the first shipments. But yeah, other than that, looks like a good truck. I was a little sketchy or a little iffy at first, but seeing it in person does a lot more justice. Now I do think, obviously, like I said before, shocks, drive shafts, a couple little areas that are going to need some beefing up, and your steering servo. Now I have guys that argue this with me all the time. 2075 servo, oh, I've had some in there for this many years and never had a problem. Every single one I've seen or I've had has had issues, so if you're not breaking it, you're probably not having enough fun. But it is a budget RTR servo, and typically any RTR, whether it be Traxxas or a different company, that is usually the weakest link. So when it comes to that, you are the weakest link. Goodbye. Anyways, that's it. That's the first look at the HOSS 4x4 VXL from Traxxas. I'm going to attempt to get this body back on with the clipless body mount on camera. You do kind of have to fish for that front nose mount. But once you get that slid in there, it's kind of a tight gap. But once you get that slid in there, it should just slide on like so, and then the back. So there you go, HOSS 4x4 from Traxxas. What are your thoughts? What do you think? Are you going to be getting one? Go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you're thinking and what's going through your head. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and click that subscribe button, click the little bell next to it, that way you're getting notifications when new videos are coming out. Feel free to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter in the links below. And next time I will try not to chop my head off. I'm trying to get the vehicle in the shot as well as me talking. So there you go, Traxxas hat, supporting, repping, Hobby Action shirt. Shout out again to them. Thanks for letting me take a look at the first delivery model, get some footage for you guys, get my hands on it and give you my 2 cents. And that's a wrap. As always, see you in the next one.